Let's start at the very beginning then. Let's say, for example, I'm an emerging songwriter. I've written some songs. I want to start a band. Pete, is that all I need to do at the very beginning? Do I just go out and find the bandmates, or are there some business things I should be thinking of at that level?
It's an interesting question. I'm always really conscious when I get asked as a lawyer, you know, what sort of things you need to do. Do you need to get the business together? That it seems so against the grain of the creative process, because, you know, ultimately you're passionate about music. You do just want to get together with friends or people you can kind of buzz off and create some exciting music. So my advice would always be try not to let that be interrupted by anything. But the other side of that advice, I suppose, is don't let that be interrupted by anything by talking about the business stuff early on, because ultimately it's going to come up at some point, and if you don't talk about it at the start, then when there's money on the table or things have started to spiral and you become successful, it's very hard to then have those conversations. So I know Andy was talking to me before about bands when you come together. Whether this is, you know, traditional kind of guitar band or, you know, any kind of pop act, you know, hip hop act, even a team of producers coming to write together, you do need to think about how you kind of, I suppose, regulate what you'd call like your internal workings. You know, how do you work together before you start thinking about recording contracts, you know, management, publishing, and all that sort of stuff. So one of the things that Andy asked me just to raise really was this idea of like a band partnership agreement. So I don't know how much time we've got to go into too much detail on it, but the reason I mention it is because under the laws in this country, if you have two or more people coming together with a view to making profit, you know, whether that's music or, you know, a fish and chip shop, anything like that, there are certain obligations and responsibilities and rights which are implied by law. And in the case of a band, there's certain things you might want to give some thought to. So one of those things will be that if you come together, you're joint and severally liable. Think about this in a practical context. Say you're out playing, you know, South by Southwest, you have to rent some equipment, and you go out and you rent your drum kit, all four of you in the band perhaps there, then the drummer decides to trash the kit at the end of the gig and leaves the band. Potentially the rest of the band are then liable to pick up and have to pay for this drum kit that's been broken. So, you know, these are the sorts of things you have to think about. The other thing as well is that you have, there's supposed to be an equal split of income and also liabilities as well. So if you're in a band and you have one main songwriter, and perhaps you have, you know, drummer or bass player who perhaps don't write the songs, if you don't have any paperwork in place, then the implication is that you split everything equally. So there are lots of things to think about from a business point of view. Try not to let them get in the way of the creative process, but you do have to think about them, because as the Smiths or Spandau Ballet or any of these big acts will tell you, if you don't get it right, you can end up in court spending a whole lot of money trying to sort it out afterwards.
Actually, on that theme then, I'm not sure if it's possible to answer this question briefly, but can you briefly explain copyright? Horrible question.
Start now.
Yeah. Yes. You've got 30 seconds to cover it all.
Copyright is essentially the exclusive right of the owner of a copyright work to do certain things, and also, importantly, to prevent others from doing certain things. So those things will be copying stuff, obviously, also performing, communicating to the public, all these sorts of things. I think the important things of copyright in a nutshell to bear in mind: copyright exists automatically, subject to some basic criteria. So it's not like a registered trademark. You don't have to register it anywhere. It does exist automatically. Anyone heard of this idea of posting a demo to themselves? Yeah. Okay. So the idea of that is not any sort of official process, but that is to show that it's sort of evidence as to sort of date of creation, essentially. So the idea with copyright is it exists automatically, so long as it fulfills some very basic criteria. But you really just need to have it, a recording of it. And a recording doesn't have to be Abbey Road. It can be, you know, it can just be a recording on your on an iPhone or something, or notation, just so that there's a record of it existing. But these are very important rights. Obviously, PRS will collect in relation to some of those. But it's really important that you understand what those rights are, so you can enforce them if someone's infringing them. But also, as well, that you know if you start to infringe other people's rights. So you can't, for example, go online, find an image that you like, and think, oh no, I'll just stick that on the cover of my EP without asking permission.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we touched on songwriter splits there. Alex, you know, you're in a band, you've toured. How do you, or how did the band split the songs in those cases? Because I guess what I'm getting at is we all know that there are certain ways that you could be splitting it. The practical quite often seems to be different. So how did it work for you?
Well, I mean, to reiterate what Pete was just saying, it's important to do these things when you're still friends. You know, it's a really difficult conversation to have, like who's going to have what share. But it is really important, because if you don't do it now, further on down the line it can cause a lot more problems. So it's really important to get those discussions out of the way. And in terms of who gets what, I mean, a lot of bands just split it equally. You know, if you've got 4 people, just 4 ways. I mean, that seems to be the most common way of doing it. But there are no rules. There's nothing to say you should be getting 30%, the singer should be getting 40, a drummer should be getting 5. You know, there is no rule. There's no standard split we can advise. And when it comes to PRS, you basically register the song with us. We don't decide who gets what. That's a kind of a discussion you guys have to have before you come to register the song with PRS. And registering the song with PRS, we don't actually confer copyright on a song. So when you register a song on the PRS database, you're not copyrighting that song. So it's a very vague answer, because there is no correct answer. In our case, there are certain songs where they were fully formed, written before the band, as the band is now, came into existence. Those songs were written 100% by the singer, so that's how the song's being registered. There's other songs which we've all created, you know, all collaborated together. We split them equally down the middle. And I mean, there is no right answer, but the important thing is that you agree, you know, whilst you're still friends, whilst you're still working together, and to get those songs registered on the PRS database. And from an admin point of view, if you've got 4 people in the same band and you're registering a song on the PRS database and you're all members and you're all songwriters, you all have to submit your own registration for that work. Don't let one person do it and the other guys don't do it, because it secures everyone's claim. So if there's 4 people in the band, you've all contributed to the song, you've all agreed you should be getting 25%, register it individually. Each person submits a registration, because if you don't do that, if only one person registers a song, that person can take away the other person's shares and increase their share, and there'd be nothing to stop them from doing it. So it's really important, if you're in a band, that you all submit your own registration for the work. That's probably the most important thing I can advise in that respect.
Okay, so however I decide to split my songwriting, I have to have a clear understanding of what's been agreed. Okay, so I'm developing my career. I've written my song. I've agreed how I'm going to split that songwriting share. I'm now going to record a demo. James,
yeah,
is it worth me recording a demo? Do people still send demos in? Do they get listened to? Did they ever?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's about the music, isn't it? So if you don't record a demo, then nobody can hear your music. So you might as well be working in Tesco's. Yeah, of course you record it. I mean, of course, if people say, what format should I send it on? Do I send it on a CD? Do I send it on a mini disc? Do I send it on an MP3? And really, I mean, I don't know what other people think, but I'm just, however the music comes in, whatever format it is, and the formats are changing and have changed over the years and will change, ultimately it's about the song. It's about the song and how great the song is and how catchy it is, or whatever the A&R man or whoever you're sending it to is looking for in that song. Yes, of course you should record a demo. The quality of the demo, for me, is never really that important. It's, as long as you can hear a melody and you can hear the song and you can hear a beating heart in it, then I think that's the main thing. I think too many people, too many bands get hung up on the quality of the demo, and they'll send a demo in, whatever format it may be, and go, oh, have a listen to this. Now, the second song, we didn't have much time to mix it, so almost making excuses before you've even heard it. And I just think, if you're making music, you shouldn't be making excuses for your music. It doesn't matter, you know, everybody, we're not weird, you know, we don't just listen to like weird, like, I don't know, throbbing Gristle records at 5 in the morning, you know. We listen to popular music, and I think it's about the song, and it doesn't really matter about the quality, because whatever happens, if you're lucky enough to get signed to a record label, or lucky enough to go that little bit further down the line, then other people may get involved. You may get a producer involved or somebody else involved. It's really just pushing your music out there, and it's more about making sure that whoever you're sending it to listens to it. And sometimes I think you can give away too much information. I mean, I receive demos all the time. I've received demos when I was working at Rough Trade Records, and when I did my own label, 1965, and I receive demos on a daily basis. A lot of them now, yes, do come via email as MP3s. But what I often see, in fact, I will tell you a story. Very recently, I got sent a compact disc, if you remember those, and I got sent one of those, and all it said was, it was a blank CD with just an email address on it, and that's all it said. There was no name of a band, I didn't know how many songs were on it or anything. And I was really intrigued, because in the same post, I got another CD with all these pictures and all this information about where they were formed and what they did and how many this and this little band contest they'd won and this and that, just information. And I was reading all the information, and by the end of the information, I thought, I don't want to hear this I don't want to hear the music, because I'm bored of you already. Do you know what I mean? I'm bored of you. But this other one with just an email address, it's like, I want to know what this is all about. I don't even know what this music is. Is there even any music on there? I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know. And weirdly enough, I did like it, and eventually I emailed them, and then another CD came through like 2 weeks later, again with just an email address on, one song again. I was intrigued. Eventually, I got an email, because I was giving them information. And I got to the email, anyway, we met, and I'm actually going to be meeting the guys tonight in a pub in Soho. But my point is that what it was about it, there's a little bit of mystery about it. There was a little bit of intrigue. And you can have great songs and you can have terrible songs, but what really gets me going, and what's get a lot of people going, is a bit of intrigue and a bit of excitement. Because we're bombarded by music. You walk down any street in London, any street in any town, any shop you walk in, it's music. You walk in a coffee shop, it's music. People listening to music on their phone, on their iPads, on their iPods, whatever their eye is. And everybody's listening to music, so it's everywhere. So you've got to grab people's attention. And sometimes too much information, for me, is too much. Too much information is too much. We have to create some sort of a mystery. But ultimately, saying all that, if it's a shit song, I ain't going to get back, I'm not going to get hold of you again, you know. It's got to be a great song. And it's all about the song. And it's not necessarily about the haircut. It's not about the size of your jeans or anything like that. It's about the song, and whether it's a great catchy chorus, and whether it gets you going. And ultimately, if you're an A&R man and you're hearing stuff every day, or you're going out and seeing band or artist or whatever, you know, DJ or whatever you do, what gets you is the song. You know, it makes the hairs on your arms stand up. It makes you think about something. It puts you somewhere. And really, that's why we're all in this room now. That's why all these brilliant pictures around the wall, all these people have all done that to somebody. Maybe not to you. I'm not obsessed by Robbie Williams, but a lot of people are. Do you know what I mean? I love the Rolling Stones. Do you know what I mean? So, but what the Rolling Stones did for me was make me excited about it. And I think when you're sending a demo in, just think about the tune. Don't think about the production or anything like that for me, because that's going to come later further down the line. You know, for me, it's just about getting that music down there. Rant.
So fair to say no one got signed for their artwork then. Okay, so I've got my demo. I've just got my email address on it. It's still in It's still in the early stages of my career. Kat, can I be reasonably approaching managers now? When would I expect a manager to get involved?
Well, it's sort of up to you when you start approaching managers, but to be honest, if it's the right time, managers will probably already be approaching you, because they'll see that there's something going on. If you've got a bit of a buzz, if you're playing some shows, or you know, you're beginning to build up a bit of a fan base, we'll quite often hear about music through other people that we know in the industry that's seen a band. I would say the majority, not to be disheartening, the majority of people that would send in a demo to us, that's not the way that you'll get signed. It's not the way that we would pick up an artist. It's not that they don't get listened to, but in general, most of the artists, I would say, in our experience that we've taken on have already got something going on. They're building up a bit of a fan base somewhere. But then, as James said, it's all about the song. If we get sent a song that makes us play it 8 times in the office and makes us run around going, everyone needs to listen to this song, then obviously we'll get in touch. It's all about the song. A great song and a great voice will cut through anything. But I've had people phone me up and say, I need a manager. Okay, great. You got any music you can send me? No. What? obviously you need to have some recordings. It doesn't matter what it sounds like in terms of production and the mix, because we can hear through that. We can hear a great song and we can hear a great voice, and if there's something there, we'll hear it. So don't stop sending in your demos, but if you're in a position where you've got a band, or you're putting some tracks together, you've got something going on, put something up online, see what the reaction is. You can judge very quickly whether something's reacting, and so just sending in a demo with nothing else going on isn't really going to catch my attention, whereas if you've got some other things going on around it as well, we're more likely to sort of sit up straight away.
It's also about having your own voice as well.
Yeah, completely.
I think I think you'll probably get it at Big Life, and I certainly got it. I remember, especially when I was working with the Libertines and the Strokes, and I was at Rough Trade, and every demo that came in sounded like the Libertines and the Strokes. Yeah. And I was thinking, why are you sending this demo? I've already got the Libertines and the Strokes, or you've already got the Verve, or whoever you're working with. It's like. And I remember this one guy phoned me up. I said, yeah, they're all right songs, mate, but it just sounds a bit like Oasis. It's a bit too Oasis-y for me. This is like in the sort of late 90s. It's a bit too Oasis-y for me. He goes, well, we can also sound a bit like Radiohead. You know what I mean? It's just like, you've got to find your own voice. I mean, there's obviously you can jump on bandwagons and there's a scene going on, you can jump on the back of it and do it. But I think to be heard and to make a noise, and managers and good management companies like Big Life and even lawyers to an extent, God bless them, it's about finding something interesting, and it's about your own voice. And I think you'd agree with that.
Definitely.
I hope you would.